2020. What? It's 2019? It's 2020 when discussing American elections and what has been a decidedly unique presidency so far. Politics has followed conventional wisdom for the most part. A president making controversial statements or shutting down the government is seen in poor light, and good economic numbers seem to boost Trump's popularity. Who would have thought? The 2018 midterms had good news for both parties. In the Senate, Republicans got a cushion and netted 2 seats, while losing 2, they did flip 4. In the House, Democrats picked up 40 seats and flipped the chamber. The media declared it a rebuke of President Trump, while most pundits have considered it a mixed bag. So, with the primary season underway, let's take a look at the Democratic Party. The party of Andrew Jackson. Oh, I guess the Democrats want me to change that. The party of Franklin Roosevelt? Better? Oh, you want me to ignore his personal flaws? Fine. FDR, the Democrats' Lincoln. The person who they aspire to be, minus the womanizing and the upper crust image, and the, I won't do it again. FDR, the man who brought America out of the Great Depression by bringing us into World War II. The Democratic Party of late has had issues relating to their traditional base of blue-collar union workers and the everyman, as evidenced by their loss in traditional Democratic strongholds like the Rust Belt and Upper Midwest. They will seek to reclaim these lands in 2020. The party has shifted very far to the left on many economic issues. And in the social sphere, the party has shifted beliefs dramatically. This is partly due to the rise of Bernie Sanders as well as other progressive candidates. They seem to run on political celebrity rather than policy, as evidenced by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Beto O'Rourke, Bernie Sanders, and I could go on and on. Even Barack Obama, the 44th president, could fall into the category of political celebrity. So, who are the candidates hoping to earn the party's nomination? Richard my notes are saying he withdrew his candidacy. Next! Julian Castro, Housing and Urban Development Secretary under the last years of the Obama administration, from San Antonio, Texas. Previously, he was that city's mayor. Other than that, no political experience. He checks all the boxes an image-savvy Democrat might look for. Young, Hispanic, tied to Obama, but historically he has had to deal with the business sector in San Antonio, and maybe, just maybe, progressives will punish him for that. If he does win the nomination, I doubt he wins his home state of Texas. It is becoming more purple, but it is also still a red state until proven otherwise. John Delaney. Who? No, seriously, who? He announced in 2017, didn't run for re-election to his congressional seat, and is from a blue state with a Republican governor. I'm just not seeing how his bid makes any sense, especially since he seems to be more of an establishment Democrat and more centrist than the Democratic primary electorate will want. This is just dead in the water. Tulsi Gabbard. This is an interesting bid. One could say she has the progressives, but for primary voters, she has some troubling issues. She is not for gun control. She has had a rough past with the LGBT community. Tulsi Gabbard is a hardliner against ISIS and radical Islamic terror, and despite being an economic progressive, still seems to hold some very conservative social stances privately. Publicly is a different story. Her campaign should be interesting, at the very least. Kirsten Gillibrand, Hillary Clinton light. If you thought Clinton was a great nominee, you're going to love Gillibrand. During her time in the House, she earned an A rating from the NRA, but now she is all for gun controls. She has tons of corporate ties. Goldman Sachs, anyone? Gillibrand is also from New York and won't offer geographic diversity in terms of coalition building. She is Hillary Clinton light. Same taste, less scandal, even more underwhelming. Kamala Harris, the rising star of the party in the Senate, former prosecutor from San Francisco. Apparently there was some controversy there, but let's sweep that under the rug. No reason to dig into her past, considering how hard she fought against Kavanaugh. California, the base of the Democratic Party. No, seriously. The Democratic Party may as well be California, New York, and New England, because that seems to be where they are all from. Harris does have an interesting background, though. And it will be interesting to see how she handles herself in debates. Elizabeth Warren, or as Donald Trump calls her, Pocahontas. Yeah, that one blew up in her face. She will have to deal with being less popular than other progressives running or who might run. She also doesn't have the ability to portray herself in the center to appeal to non-progressives. Her campaign seems to be there is a hope that other candidates take so many votes from each other that she wins by default. Elizabeth Warren is a buyer beware for Democrats, considering how past Democratic nominees from Massachusetts have fared in general elections. Remember McGovern? Kerry? Michael Bennet. This could either flop or fail. Having worked for an investment firm that restructured an oil company and merged other companies, he became the superintendent of Denver schools and failed miserably with a bond proposal. Then he became a senator. He won his first election in the 2010 Republican wave year very narrowly, indicating he has some political strength. In 2016, he won more comfortably, getting more votes than Hillary Clinton did in her presidential race, but he is somewhat moderate on many issues, and progressives may not like his positions on guns, or not being a fan of Medicare for all, preferring slight incremental increases in coverage. Joe Biden. Still a popular figure within the Democratic Party, but one has to be somewhat confused about this one. He is old, he is white, he is these days upper crust, though he does have a working class background. He is not a progressive, represents the establishment even more than Clinton, and he missed his chance in 2016. In truth, I doubt he announces, but if he does, he will likely get swamped in the primaries, or if he wins, it will be by virtue of fragmentation among progressives. He could cause depressed turnout for Democrats in this instance. Why don't you go fire your shotgun in the air off the porch, former Vice President? Mayor Bloomberg. I know Michael Bloomberg is not the mayor of New York anymore, but it still feels like he uses that as his image. The one problem I see for him is one word: billionaire. It doesn't matter that he is supportive of uber-strict gun control, or for Democrats is right where they want to be on environmental issues. It is that he is a semi-business friendly billionaire whose only government experience was as a mayor. Cory Booker. Does the Democratic Party really need another progressive wannabe with corporate ties? This isn't just a criticism of Booker. The party seems to have a ton of nominees running with the only reason being, I hate Trump more than you. No, I do. No, I do. No, I do. Booker is not the person he is attempting to model his career on. Barack Obama. Sherrod Brown. Bland Democrat from a Rust Belt state? With a somewhat progressive voting record? This actually makes sense. He will likely get swamped if he does run. Eric Garcetti, San Francisco progressive who has a low national profile. This should go well. I'll grab the popcorn. John Hickenlooper. Buddy, your only hope of becoming president is running an independent campaign with John Kasich. Something tells me primary voters will not want to vote for someone who is cozy with a former Republican governor, even if it is Kasich. Eric Holder. Well, if he runs, he could bring back presidential facial hair, which would be cool. He has ties to the Obama White House, being the former Attorney General. He fits what progressives want on the social side of the debate. Economically, it is left to be seen, but his low profile might hurt him in early primaries. Jay Inslee. Wait, really? Washington? Really? I doubt he runs, and if he does, he gets swamped. Amy Klobuchar. Establishment? Yawn. Not ultra-progressive? Yawn. Something tells me she is only liked because of her home state and because the establishment likes her. Terry McAuliffe. If Gillibrand is Hillary Clinton light, McAuliffe is Hillary Clinton classic. Original recipe. Now with 100% more Y chromosomes. A centrist Democrat will not win this primary unless progressives continue beating each other up until the convention. But he might get 93 million votes per state. Beto O'Rourke. Senatorial loser? I guess it makes sense if you believe in political celebrity winning over real celebrity. He managed to get more votes than Clinton got, and still lost by 3% of the vote. He does have the benefit of being a progressive, but there are skeletons in his closet. Drunk driving, anyone? Bernie Sanders. This is political celebrity done right. He went from complete unknown to founder of a political movement overnight. He almost unseated the anointed one in 2016. Some argue he would have defeated Donald Trump, but we will never know. However, there are some issues with his former campaign that might hurt his chances in 2020. But he is also the only person who still has campaign infrastructure left from that election. So, who wins? Well, this is a tough one since there are three ways this primary goes. Either the centrists stay out and we get a brutal, vicious primary where all the skeletons are exhumed and the nominee stumbles into the general to get slaughtered. Or one or two centrists use the fracturing of the progressive movement and steal the nomination, leading to their destruction in the general because they didn't win the majority of the party's primary votes. That, or the party rigs the primaries again for a proven commodity who is relatively uncontroversial and just progressive enough to shut up the upstart wannabe party hijackers on the left. Either Harris or Biden will win. Some milquetoast white man from the Midwest will be the vice presidential nominee. Now watch me be wrong.